Since last year, a lot of discussions have taken place around sorghum. The National Assembly of the United Nations, in its 75th sitting, declared 2023 as the International Year of Millets, of which sorghum is a part. In studio with me to discuss some of the plans around revitalising the sorghum industry amongst both producers and consumers in South Africa is Petru Fourie. Petru, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Andy.
First off, tell us, what is sorghum for those who don't know, and why is it such an important crop?
You already made reference to sorghum and the International Year of a Millet. Except for that, it was also last year that the international conference at Montpellier, France took place. So that was the second conference. Of course, a great gathering with international road players, but except for those three aspects, you know what, of course, Department of Science and Innovation, they also started with the initiative to bring role players together and the establishment of a cluster. So that's great and exciting stuff. But why all the fuss, like you know already referred to? It is actually, we all know maize, but sorghum is such an important staple food as well. So Africa and India, they predominantly consume sorghum. It is their staple food. But then again, if we look in terms of America, it is more used for bioethanol and as well with the animal consumption side. But coming back to South Africa, and that is where we need to address this. There is so many benefits with sorghum, which we also see, except for being a millet, it's also a grain and an oil seed. And how can we actually boost the local consumption thereof? We all know the matabella, the pap, etc. But the advantages of sorghum, which include it being a gluten-free, it is a non-GM, it is also a climate-smart crop, environmental friendly. So those are the aspects which we need to focus on also locally to get sorghum production and consumption growing.
How would you describe the current situation in South Africa's sorghum industry, and what are some of the trends we're seeing?
Yeah, only that's very challenging in total. If we look in terms of sorghum, we see consumption declining, we see the production declining. But if we start off with consumption side, so consumption, it has during the years of 1919, approximately 260,000 tons were consumed. It is currently at levels of 130,000 tons. So you can see that consistent decline taking place. But let's break it up a little bit more. So approximately 90% of our consumption is more towards the human consumption side, where a lesser portion goes to the animal consumption side. But in terms of the human consumption, during the years of 1990 and even before that, the consumption of sorghum mostly was for the beer consumption, for the malting side. But we saw a declining trend with that taking place consistently up to where we are currently. That is predominantly due to the craft beers, the clear beers, etc. But the biggest aspects which make us very exciting is that there was actually during this time period a nice increase within the flour market growing with sorghum. So that indicates that the consumption thereof, not just matabella pups, etc., that is actually an increase which is taking place. But the one thing is, there was a nice increase, but it's actually now moving sideways. And that is some of the aspects which we need to address and focus more on how we can get that increase again going. If we focus on the production side, that is really an area where we need to focus on. Because if you look in terms of the same time period, during the 1990s, approximately 150,000 hectares sorghum were planted. We're currently at levels which is below 40,000 hectares. So it's really a decline, which we of course also understand that producers need to prioritize, listen, what they're going to plant, what is profitable for them, but also producers need to plant a crop where there is a market for. So of course the impact which the sorghum consumption has is automatically flowing over to the production side. That's also contributing to why producers are planting less sorghum as well. We're actually in the situation where we're importing sorghum currently, and actually that's not ideal for us as a country, because we have the capabilities to actually produce our own sorghum and to be self-sufficient.
It's a chicken and egg situation. Do you stimulate production first, or do you stimulate consumption first, demand? Where do you think the focus needs to lie?
Yeah, if you look in terms of the sorghum market, we already made reference, it is extremely small. It's a very, very small industry. So the price fluctuations from year to year, that is some of the key challenges which the industry is faced with. For example, during a year when prices are higher, of course, the follow-up year producers, of course, will be motivated because it will be more profitable for them when they will plant the sorghum. But in the other way around as well, when there's a shortage, immediately when the processors or the importers, they bring in just one consignment, that's 30,000 tons automatically, which you bring additional to the market. And all of these things brings huge fluctuations. So those are the challenges. But currently, the thing is that the industry are coming together. They're having some discussions around that. And that is where the priority and focus areas needs to be in terms of personally as well, we actually see that the consumption side is really where the focus should be. That's why we're also bringing in some of this of awareness which needs to be created. There is so much market potential as well for sorghum, specifically look in terms of what international products are available, which we do not have locally. Producers will follow if the market is there. So producers will produce or plant a crop if there is a demand for it, and of course, if it makes profitable sense for them.
And I think all of us, if we have conversations with our parents, our grandparents, they would be more familiar with sorghum. So it's to remind South Africans of sorghum, its uses, its value, its nutritional value, and to bring that back onto our plates.
So Annelie, let's challenge ourselves and let's go eat sorghum.
We're challenging you too.